Hey guys, Courtney here, and I am so excited to be sharing with you a great friend of mine. His name is Jared Yellin, and he is with Unblinded. He is actually the CEO of Unblinded Sales Mastery, and I'm just going to let him kind of share who he is and what Unblinded is all about.
Awesome. Well, Courtney, thank you. As I tell you every time I speak with you, you are like the ultimate rock star. I'm so proud of, I want to say like the mini metamorphosis in the past few months and like the stepping into like massive metamorphosis, which is like seismic impact, seismic contribution. And the coolest thing is like, look how much you've done before, like creating like wild levels of like operational efficiency and process mastery. So kudos to you. I'm excited and honored to be here. Hello, everybody. Great to see you. It's interesting because people often ask me, like, do you mind sharing like your entrepreneurial story? Because I've started a lot of companies now, like Unblinded being my like primary focus, but I have a lot of companies. And what's interesting is when I was 20 years old, I knew there was one thing that was absolutely certain in my life, Courtney, like guaranteed, I was going to eventually be a dad. Now, not when I was 20, but eventually. And the reason that thought even came to me is my parents went through a really bad divorce when I was young. And I'm sure there was worse divorces than my parents, but it was pretty darn bad. And I remember when I was 20, I was thinking about like my life. And I said to myself, my future has to be quieter than my past. Like it just has to be. It's just like so loud, so overwhelming, so stressful. And I remember thinking to myself, like, okay, like I know I'm going to be a dad. What does that even mean? And the first word that came to my mind was freedom. And I started to say, okay, what does that even mean? Like, what is freedom? So I started defining it as financial freedom and time freedom and career freedom and geographical freedom. So I'm like, okay, cool. Now, like, how does one get there? And the only path I could conceptualize was entrepreneurship. So fast forward to today, I'm 35. I have a beautiful 3.5-year-old daughter named Teely and a 1.5-year-old rock star named Riker. And I have it. Like I have freedom. And it's because I was very intentional over the past 15 years when it came to entrepreneurship. So I've launched many companies. I've had a few really good exits and even more learning experiences. To date, I actually have a holding company with a number of holdings within it. Most I'm passive at best. Two, I'm more active. One, extremely active. The one that I'm less active with is actually called Cinduit. So you can see that up there. And Cinduit is a great story because I started the company in my apartment 9 years ago, completely by myself. And I had to leverage my own skill set. And my skill is I can sell and I can write marketing copy. So that's what it looked like. I sold myself as a copywriter and it worked. And I ended up having like really cool clients that hire me. People like you would like hire me to write your direct response marketing copy. And it continued to scale and grow. And I eventually morphed into an agency. And then we really scaled. And we had hundreds of people that were paying us thousands of dollars every single month. And from anyone's standards, this was like really successful. Like from the outside looking in, from the inside looking out, like we were generating incredible cash flow. Like it was great. And in not a very long time to get there, but I just burnt out. Like for me, this was clunky. Like every time that I would have a client say yes, it was like I was a perpetual HR department, like trying to find people to pair with the client. We had a huge office right outside New York City, so I had to live within proximity of the office. Like it just wasn't the kind of company that I wanted to build. And I had this realization, which was I want to find a way to do what we're doing, but I want to do it with 1 million entrepreneurs. Like I'm like you, like I want to find ways like massive impact, massive change. And the only way I could conceptualize doing anything with 1 million people was to build a platform. But I'm not an engineer. So luckily I had one token engineer who was actually my CTO today. And I pitched him on the vision. I said, I want to build the simplest marketing software in the world. And then I want to pre-populate that software with all of the content that a business or an industry would need. Can you do it? And engineers say yes to absolutely everything. And he said, yes, I can do it. And I'm like, well, what would it take? Like, I want to make a decision literally right now. This is 2012. It was actually on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. And he was sitting there for a few minutes and he said, okay, it's going to take 3 things. So I'm like, we're literally making the decision now. Like, let's do this. So he said, okay, 1, don't distract me for a year. So I said, deal, you got it. This is your only focus. Full year, I promise not to distract you. He said, okay, great. He said, 2, we have to hire a team. Like there's just no way I can do this by myself. Like, let's just start with contractors. And I said, whatever you want, you got the budget, go and do it. So he said, okay, cool. And he said, the third one you're really not going to like, because I've known you now for long enough. I'm like, we're making the decision. Let's do this. So he said, we have to raise $3 million. It's just too risky to build software like this without any funding. And I said, no deal. I'll personally just fund it like through the agency. And now looking back, it's like ridiculous. Like it's such an amateur move. Like, what am I even thinking? But at the time it was like all green lights, like we're doing this. And we did it. Like we somehow found a way to pull it off. We built a very minimum viable version of the platform we have today. We actually launched the first ever done for you marketing solution for chiropractors just to prove out the concept. And they loved it, Courtney. We had 1,000 chiropractors sign up in 4 months, which is really a lot of chiropractors, a very small profession. And everything you'd want to like check the box for was validated. New patients, retention increasing, team driven. It was fun. Like everything that they would want happened. So I said, guys, we did it. Like now let's double down and build a better solution. Let's get the price down. Let's make it more scalable. And I'm proud to say we pulled it off. So 4 years ago, we launched the current version of our software. And in the past 4 years, we've scaled to over 40,000 active paying users across 30 industries. So it's scaled really fast. But here's the great part of the story. I know it's going to speak to you because you're at this phase as well. I wanted to find a way to remove myself from the trenches. I was deeply involved with every single thing that this company stood for, which was fine because like it's great, it's successful, it's impacting thousands and thousands of lives. But where I'm really at my best is within vision and then process mastery, not being in the trenches. So I started to assess every single process we built as a company. And I found a way to only spend 30 minutes a week now. And the company continues to grow. And that was really dialed in this past summer when I realized like, I have bandwidth. Like imagine having bandwidth, Courtney. Like what does someone like us do with bandwidth? And that is the beginning of Unblinded, actually. So I'll stop there if there's any questions you have. But the moral of the story for all of you that are watching this is that if you are in like the trenches and you know that like you're better out of the trenches than in the trenches, process mastery, dialing things in, building a team that you can trust. It's just so critical for you to be able to free yourself to do the things that only you are uniquely qualified to do.
Yes. And that excites me because, you know, we are both Tony Robbins fans. And one of the things that he says is the hardest thing to do is to manage the company that you are now and to manage the company that you're going to be in the future and focusing on trying to build that. And so as you start building a business, it's, you know, and I think I had this conversation with you yesterday. It's like, man, it's just so much easier to build it by myself. It's so much easier as a business owner. Just let me do it. You know, I don't have to teach someone how to do it. And in the beginning, it's okay. But what happens along the road, if you ever want to actually help the masses and you want to educate the masses and you want to be a viable business, you know, 20, 30 years from now, you have to step out of that. And that is one of the things that I have truly been focused on for the last 90 days is that how do I allow this business to work with or without me? Because if I get sick, if I get hurt, if something happens to me, what have I given to my children? Nothing if it's all completely about me. And if I create the systems and the processes and put those in place, then my children have a legacy company. And I think so many small business owners, you know, they see things and they're like, you know, I really want to be bigger. I really want to be a part of something so much greater. But then they start working super hard. You know, I'm working 20 hours a day right now, you know, and it feels like there's I see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it seems so far away and it's so dim sometimes. And then I realize we're not doing this just for us. We're doing this to create employees. We're doing this to create a legacy. We're doing this to impact more people. And honestly, you know, I think I had the same conversation with you yesterday. If it wasn't for the fact, and I'm a true nurturer at heart, a lot of people see me and they think that I'm very much an action person. Like I want to get things done. I want to, you know, I want to make money. I want things to happen like right now. You know, I want freedom. But the other end and the other part of me is such a nurturer that I just want to help everybody. And you realize that unless you learn how to scale and unless you learn how to create the network of people that you have and take them to your advantage and their advantage as well and create a win-win opportunity, you can't ever fully help the masses. You can't ever really create massive change. And I think that's what me and Jared are such an alignment on. And so, you know, crazy that, and I'll just share a little bit about Unblinded. Sean Callaghy, who is a great friend of mine, we are platinum partners together with Tony Robbins. That's how I actually met Jared. And Sean is actually a legally blind attorney. And that to me is probably the craziest thing on earth. And, when I met him, I'm like, how in the world could he have created this system and implemented it and still be a lawyer? And so when he realized that he was actually going blind, he started creating a system in place. And now he has over 125 attorneys that work for him in his company. And Sean and Jared have now put together this amazing process called the ecosystem merger. And so I'll let Jared kind of explain how, what the purpose of Unblinded is. But the crazy part is I was actually doing that in my day-to-day operations, and they just put a name to it. So I'm super excited to be able to share what they're doing and, hopefully allow you the opportunity to be a part of it if that's what you want. So if you'll just share with them kind of the Unblinded concept, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I'd love to. And you said so many brilliant things. Like, one of the key takeaways for all of you that are watching this is when you're in business or in life, like, there's two paths you can go down. There's hard, easy, or easy, hard. And what's interesting is it's usually like easy, hard is like disguised because like it's actually hard, but it's easier because like what you were doing, Courtney, although it was a lot of hard work, it was easier for you to do it than to think about like delegating it to someone else.
Yeah.
But like as a result, when you take the easy road, not that it was actually easy because it's like hard work, it gets progressively harder because you can't fulfill your vision and your purpose and mission in life. And like, imagine if you grinded it out for like 30 more years. And like, as a result, like, yes, you are like saving like a dozen children, like a month, whatever that number might be. Right. But like by you going now hard, easy, which is like, this is actually really hard to go out and hire people and train them so that I can like remove myself from the business. Now you can impact like 1,200 kids a month, right? Like, and that's a real breakthrough moment. With regards to Sean, this fascinating thing happened because this past summer, so the summer of 2019, I had bandwidth like for the first time in 10 years. And I had no idea what to do with it. The universe did. And the universe put Sean Callaghan in my life. And what's interesting about Sean, like you mentioned, he is an attorney. And he's not just any attorney, though. Like, he's built this massive firm, 6 offices, almost 150 people on his team now. And his firm is so unique because they take on like the David versus Goliath cases, like cases that like the odds are not just like stacked against them. They have no chance of winning. And he bears the risks. He does it on contingency and they almost always win. Like it doesn't even make sense. But this is all rooted in the fact that 22 years ago, Sean became an attorney and he was absolutely certain that he'd be an amazing attorney. And he was equally as certain that he couldn't sell himself as an attorney. Like, he's not like you and I, Courtney, like that has like sales in our DNA. Like that isn't Sean. Like, I was selling newspapers when I was 7 years old in the bathroom. I got in trouble and then I started selling candy bars because I thought the problem was the newspapers, not the selling stuff in the bathroom. And they're like, no, you can't sell in bathrooms. I'm like, what are you supposed to do with it? They're like,
I was selling candy too. That's crazy.
Yeah. So like, that's like, I know that it's just like, but like for Sean, it's so interesting. Like, cause you know him now, it's like, but that's not him. Like, he wasn't like this DNA salesperson. But he knew that if he didn't figure out how to sell and influence, that his impact as an attorney would be suboptimal. So he started reading every book he could find, went to every seminar, every course he could find. And after going through all of this work, he realized there was just gaps. There was like nothing that really taught him what he needed to learn. So he said, I'm just going to create my own formula, which he did. And it's called integrity-based human influence. This focuses on the science that exists within the space of influence. And there's a ton of research while always remaining in integrity in any sales process or communication dynamics. And he did this to just for his own use, like to scratch his own itch. And he then started teaching his employees and his paralegals and his partners. And it's the reason why his firm has been able to accomplish what it has. 3 years ago, some of his larger clients started to approach him and they were like, Sean, like, how are you doing this? Like, the firm is scaling like crazy. You're winning legendary cases and you're blind. Like, it doesn't make sense. And he's like, oh, it's integrity-based human influence. And they're like, what is that? And he's like, it's kind of like a sales training. And then they said, will you come in and teach our team, like, so that we can learn like what you're doing? So he said yes to see if he could. Like, could he transfer the knowledge that he was able to accumulate over like the past 19 years at that time? And he went into these companies, Courtney, and every one of them said, Sean, This is the single greatest sales training we've ever experienced. And these are like companies that invest lots of money into professional development for their teams. So it validated Sean's work. Well, fast forward again to this summer. I have bandwidth, and Sean woke up one random day and he said, now's my time. Now's my time to mainstream integrity-based human influence. I want the world to know what I know. And he felt this way because he turned 50 years old this year. His kids are either in college or going to college. That's always been his number one priority. And his law firm is pretty much on autopilot. So this was his chance. And this is when we were introduced to one another, because I've become known as someone that can take like an idea, build a business around it, and then scale it. And what's so interesting, Courtney, is when I first met Sean, I knew nothing about him other than he's an attorney and he's blind. That is it. And then within 2 minutes, he goes, I teach sales. And I was like, what do you do? Like, where did that come from? Like, I was like, you could be like a magician. That would have surprised me less than that. Like, I had no idea that was even where the dialogue was going. And I was immediately repulsed, immediately. And the reason is because over the past 10 years, I've probably invested, like you, like millions of dollars to my own professional development. And I've bought every single sales program I could find, not because I need to, because like I could really sell, because I wanted to see if there was anything I could learn to take it to the next level, like anything, the slightest little thing that could dramatically accelerate. And I went through all these programs, probably close to 100 programs. And after completing each of them, I thought to myself, I could have just taught that course. And it's not because I'm arrogant. It's because they just weren't practical. It was like theoretical selling. Like that just doesn't work. Like there's like no connection with what they're teaching. So I just assumed that Sean was just another one of those guys. And he felt it. And he said, Jared, do you mind if I share what makes this different? And I said, please, like anything, redeem yourself. So he started talking about integrity-based human influence. And Courtney, it blew my mind. Because like you've been merging ecosystems forever, right? You sell with integrity, like you do all these things. But if I had to ask you before now, attach words to what you're doing, you probably wouldn't know how. Like I couldn't, like I just know how to do it. And he was attaching words to what I was doing and steps and processes to things that I just like innately gravitated to. And all that I could think about as he was sharing this with me was the 150 salespeople that I've hired over the past 10 years that I let down because I used to train them. And I would tell them, do what I do, feel what I feel, see what I see. And they were like, what do you feel? What do you see? And what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, dude, you can't sell. But it had nothing to do with their inability to sell. I couldn't teach them how I could sell. So I was hooked. I said, Sean, man, you're amazing. Like what you've just done has blown my mind because I know it works. It's how I sell. It's probably how you felt when Sean started sharing it with you too. What can I do to help you? Like what is your need? And he said, I want to build a business around this formula. What do you recommend? So I said, okay, like, do you like games? And he's like, yeah, I love games. I said, okay, I'm like, let's play a game now. I'm going to share ideas and you can't say a word until I'm done. And then when I'm done, you're going to tell me which ideas you like. And then I'll tell you how to launch them. So he's like, cool, let's go. So I said, okay, idea number one, let's go take your formula. Let's put it into modules and build an online sales university so that people or businesses like corporations can license it and begin to learn your genius at their own pace. I said, idea number two, let's like disrupt the CRM space and build a done for you CRM that guides people through the sales process. I said, idea number three, let's do live immersive events, like 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day experiences. Idea number four, a mastery program. So for people that really want to accelerate, like you and I, like acceleration, like with coaching included, let's do something like that. And then the fifth idea would be outsource sales. So businesses that want to outsource a portion or the entire process to a team of trained sales professionals. So I said, okay, Sean, there you go. There's 5 ideas. I have like a dozen more, but let's just start there. Which ideas do you like? And he said, I actually like all of them. So I'm like, all right, cool. And he's like, I have one more question before you tell me what to do. I said, sure. And he said, is there any chance in the world that you would launch a company with me and deploy all of these ideas? And I said, it's really funny that was your question, because one thing that you don't know about me yet is I have bandwidth the first time in 10 years. And the second thing is, as I was sharing this with you, all that I could think about is how we have to do it together. So the answer is yes, let's go. So we launched the company, and it's been amazing, Courtney, as you know. It's only been 5 months. Like this story sounds like it's years. And in these 5 months, we launched the Online Sales University. It is galvanizing energy right now. The CRM is being built. It'll launch as a beta test in the fourth quarter, and then in 2021 officially. We had our first event in January, so we had 3.5 weeks to fill The event, we had 1,600 people at the event for 3 days. It was just awesome. We've obviously canceled all of our events with the current circumstances. We launched our mastery program. We have hundreds of students. And then for outsourced sales, we had a call center, which we then expanded into a 40,000 square foot building, which we closed on 4 weeks ago, and social distancing at 40,000 square foot buildings don't work. So I kind of punted it for a bit, and we built a virtual call center. So we have dozens of people right now. We'll hire about 100 people in the next 6 weeks. And I have a feeling that's going to be the model, actually, because it's working. It's amazing. We can hire people from anywhere and give them a great opportunity. So that's me. That's the story of Unblinded. That's the business of Unblinded. We have a cool opportunity for everybody that we are offering. But before I go there, do you have any questions or comments or anything you feel that would support your audience?
Well, what I love, about what's happening, and I think that I've for a while now, it's always been talking to people about saving money in taxes, freeing up money. And the thing is that I had a conversation with a client about 6 weeks ago, I guess, when this whole thing first started, and they were freaking out. And, for me in this situation, the only thing that I can focus on right now is sales. So if I have less of an opportunity to get in front of people, then I have to make sure that my sales skills are the best. With the client, what's in the best interest of the client constantly. And so, I had just had this conversation with her. She was freaking out about, payroll and everything going on. And I'm like, the only thing that you need to focus on right now is to eliminate as much expenses as possible, but your main focus needs to be selling, because that's what everybody else is not doing. But the thing is people tend to sell, I'm not going to say incorrectly, but it's, if you are focused on the client, they can tell that. If you're focused on doing what's in the best interest of the client. And I think that's what I love so much about integrity-based human influence is you are talking to the client about what's in their best interest. And, Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough people get exactly what they want, you'll automatically get what you want. And that has been my focus my whole entire life. It's just been like ingrained in me. But, what's crazy is the whole sales process. It's hard to explain how to talk to somebody. You can, just like Jared said, I've had salespeople in the past, only a handful. I'm finally getting to a point where I'm creating tax strategists that are actually having conversations besides me, because I was like, nobody can do it like I can. Nobody can talk to people like I can, but they can. That's the thing. It's like now you realize that you can actually have people that can learn what you're doing, actually sometimes better than you can possibly do it. It's just you have to be able to allow someone else to step in and understand what's happening. And I think that's what Unblinded has done so well. Unblinded has created a fun opportunity. Like just a couple weeks ago, I did what's called a real raw, what is it? Real
raw role play. Yeah.
Real raw role play. And then a guy by the name of Dan Geltrude, who is considered America's accountant before I came along. But, we're going to just step back on that one. But, we did an influence off, and it was, it's so crazy the difference in how he built his practice, how I built my practice. But we were able to communicate, and through that whole influence off, we were able to actually help each other. He saw the way I speak to people. I saw the way he speaks to people. And then Sean stepped in and just kind of knocked it out of the park. And, you think you're a good salesperson until a better salesperson comes along. And the sad part is in our world, we seem to think we're the only one. And because we're not hearing our competitors, their sales process and how they sell. And the thing is what I love to tell you guys is that sales is inevitable. It is a requirement. It is the only way that, one, you're going to provide for your family. The second thing is provide for your employees and to grow your company. So if you don't like sales, then you're not going to go very, very far in building a business. It may be just 1 or 2 employees, but you're never going to go above that. But when you realize that sales is all about just helping people get what they need and being able to provide that to them, then you realize, wow, it's not about selling. It's about providing hope. Sometimes it's about providing a process to help people grow. And right now, in this situation where we are, there's never been a better time to take the time that you have available to you and learn more sales skills. So go ahead and explain to them the offer that you have, because I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited to learn more. I thought I was the greatest sales person on the planet until Sean stepped in and did my tax strategy session better than I did. And he wasn't even an accountant. So tell them and explain how it works.
When a blind man can help sighted people see their blind spots, like that's cool stuff, right? But before I do that, you are extraordinary. I remember the first time I spoke, I actually called Sean. I'm like, Courtney can sell. But here's the coolest thing, right? You sell with such deep integrity. Like you only do it when someone's better off with you than without you, yes. Period. And you know that yes is transformation. And this is like so important that this lands for everybody, because there's like a fear often for people to step into agreement formation, which is the final step. Like when you're saying, let's do this, there's like this fear because what if they say no? And there's like that fear of like, maybe I just don't even ask. And if they don't ask, I can be like, oh, they just weren't interested. But you give them the chance to express whether they're interested or not. But here's the key. Yes equals transformation. And if you're in any business and you want to make a difference, then you need to get to yes, if and only if they're better off with you than without you. So we have a really cool opportunity. I'm so happy you brought up the word ecosystem merger before, because that is how I went from 0 to over 40,000 paying users on our platform and growing, and I'm not even involved now. So ecosystem merging works like even once you're not intimately involved, because you can build up enough energy and just momentum starts to carry. But ecosystem merging means that you actually begin to work with like-minded businesses and professionals. And it's not a 1 + 1 = 2 outcome. It's like a 1 + 1 = 1 trillion outcome. Like what we've been talking about, Courtney, which I can't wait to like get going with you. That's an ecosystem merger, right? Because it's not like 1 + 1 = 2. Like if it was 1 + 1 = 2, we can just work extra hard and do it ourselves. Like it's 1 + 1 = like a trillion, or like Sean says, at least 10, like, but definitely not 2. So we're hosting a 6-week immersive experience, and it's absolutely free. It's kind of disruptive because this is not just another Zoom. Like I know there's a lot of Zooms, a lot of Facebook Lives. Like I get it. Like this is the new norm right now. This is like everything but that. This is an actual program. It's 6 weeks. It starts this Friday. You can go through it with us, like pacing with us or pacing with yourself. And we're teaching like the 2 most important skills that most people struggle with when it comes to scaling their business. And one is how to build emotional rapport quickly with people. Critical. Like so many people don't even know how to do that. And they don't understand what people aren't buying from them because they have no rapport. Like there's no trust. And if you do get somebody to buy, it's just because your product or service is good, not because they necessarily trust you. So we're teaching a very quick way to build emotional rapport. And we're taking you through a 6-week process to literally help you craft your ecosystem. And your ecosystem is you and the 9 other people that you're going to begin to like deeply collaborate with so that together you can achieve more. So in the first week and the first module, what we're talking about is how to even build your ecosystem. Like what is an ecosystem and how do you build it? Like how do you find it? How do you organize it? How do you prioritize it? Because many people have lots of relationships, but they don't have an ecosystem. So we really talk about what that even means in the first place. So by the time you finish the first module, you'll actually start to build your ecosystem, which besides for your message, which is the number 1 asset you have in your business, the number 2 asset are your relationships, which we call your ecosystem. So it's a really valuable exercise. In the second week, in the second module, we're then going to talk about how do you communicate with the people in your ecosystem? Because one of the things we're going to challenge you to do as you build out your ecosystem is pick half the people you know. So pick 5 that you know and pick 5 that you don't know. Like the people that you're like, they're too busy for me, or they're too successful for me. Like ecosystem up, like reach up and like consider like going to somebody that you're afraid to, and then you give them an opportunity and they want to begin to merge ecosystems with you. So in the second week, we're going to talk how to communicate with them. Email, text message, video text, video email, very tactical, practical ways to get people's attention. In the third week, the third module, we're going to talk about what we call merger marketing. So merger marketing looks like once you've established a relationship with these ecosystem partners, what do you do with it? So you're a master of this, Courtney, because like I observed you and like you're like literally everywhere. It's like at 11 o'clock you were like Les Brown, and at 12 you're with Eric Worre, and like 1 with Brian. I'm like, what? Like, when are you doing the tax returns? Like what? Like it's like blows my mind. But it's amazing, and like you're doing it. Like you are doing like what we call merger marketing. Like you're doing active things with people in your ecosystem, which creates like galvanizing energy. Like some of your Facebook Lives have tens of thousands of views. Like that's merger marketing is what we call it. So we're going to teach you webinars and Facebook Lives, like tactical, practical. In week 4, this is where it gets serious. We're going to teach you how to transition from transactional to ecosystem merger, because there's so many people that will do like a webinar or a Facebook Live, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I've merged ecosystems with Bob. And I'm like, Bob doesn't ever think about you. So you did a Facebook Live with Bob, or you did a podcast with Bob. Like merging ecosystems means you are consistently thinking about one another. Like how like we are, right? Like we are thinking about each other. We shoot texts. We're like, let's get on the phone and talk. And like we're coming with ideas to create like galvanized energy. So that's how we're going to teach you, like, how do you transition your relationships from the transactional relationships to ecosystem mergers. In week 5, we're going to share this new kind of like a marketing hack. Like you were part of it, the Real World Role Play. It's like this crazy marketing hack that we're now making available to people that are serious about merging ecosystems, where you can invite people to get a stage and a microphone as a judge or a contestant on the Real World Role Play, which is like an amazing access point for the people you want to merge ecosystems with. And we're going to teach you A, how to do that, and then B, like once they're on a role play, how to leverage that into taking your relationship with this person even further. And we have countless stories of people that have done this. We've been reverse engineering how they did it, and we're going to teach this to you. And then the 6th week, we have a really cool concept. There's this huge ecosystem we've built at Unblinded, like thousands of people, and they're benefiting from trainings that we do and free resources that we offer and coaching that we provide. And I would say, Courtney, 80 or 90% of them are like, I want to refer everybody I know into Unblinded. Like, this is like the greatest thing ever. Like, is there like any way I can make money when I do that? And in the 6th week, we're going to talk about, for those interested, like how you can now take this ecosystem you built and get them to potentially do other things with you, and you can actually make money at the same time, just as a side hustle, or maybe a full-time hustle if it made sense for you. And we're going to talk about that in the 6th week. So we call this the Unblinded Business Accelerator. And it's free. It's 6 weeks. There's no upsells. There's no hooks. I was talking with somebody today, and they're like, you're just too good of a marketer. Like, this is like, it's like too good. I'm like, no, it's actually completely in integrity. We are teaching people, and not that being too good of a marketer is a bad thing, because I don't. I think it's a great thing. But I'm like, this is what we're doing. We're teaching people how to use Unblinded to build their main business. And by teaching them that, what's going to happen, like, why would we do it? Like, we want the name Unblinded to become what people think of when they think of sales. So that's the mission. Like, we want this plastered over everything. And this is just one of many ways that we're going to achieve it. That's it. Now, will we get business from it? Of course we will. And all of you should want us to, the same way that we really, really want you to. But when you go through this experience, we ask you not to act like it's free. Act like you paid a meaningful amount for you, whether that's $200 or $2,000 or $250,000, whatever's a meaningful amount to you. Pretend like that's what you've invested, because that's what this is worth to you, times 10, because that's how powerful it's going to be. Sean and I can't wait to experience it with you. It starts on Friday, but you can do it at your own pace. And we're literally going to help you craft and organize and leverage your ecosystem, whether you're starting with nothing or starting with something. It's going to get really exciting for you.
I love it. Well, and that, what's so exciting about that is the fact that, I haven't done the system, but I know the system, and I know how hard it was for me to, I kind of picked up on it, and I said, hey, if I can help someone else grow their company, and they could market me at the same time, that would work. And so I started creating this video content, and I started saying, hey, could you get me in front of your team? It was network marketing, and can you get me in front of your team? So I'm going to give you content that is going to help grow. I'm going to help keep more people on your team that stay in your company. I'm going to help free up money so people could get started in their own home-based business. And on top of that, I'm going to help people keep more of their hard-earned money when they make it. And it works perfectly, because I can then market for someone, anyone, whether it's a speaker, coach, trainer, network marketer, and I can share what personal growth and development has done for me. I can share what the home-based business industry has done for me. Because I built a home-based business. I mean, I built my accounting firm from, we just moved out of our home in September with our 13 employees, our 6 kids, our dog, and my husband. Like, it was super crazy. It was crazy.
I did not know that.
It was insane.
Wow.
But I was really so scared of moving to an office because I lost my business 10 years ago and the guy I sold it to quit paying me. And the only reason I put it up for sale is because I was $2,000 short a month in cash flow. And here's what I know, guys. I know what, I met Sean, platinum partner with Tony Robbins. I didn't have the money to become a platinum partner. I didn't. I didn't have an extra $500 a month when I joined Platinum Partnership almost 2 years ago. Our business has literally grown to $270,000 a month. Generated that from, when I met Tony Robbins and put personal growth and development in my life. And most people don't even realize, like, that's what this is. This is taking skills that people have worked their whole entire life to create and utilizing those skills. And at this point, it's free. Typically I would be telling people how amazing the products were, the services were, and the fact of what personal growth and development has done for me to take us from $7,500 a month to $270,000 a month in the last 2.5 years. And just by the day we joined as platinum partner, I remember we were doing about 35 grand a month at that point in time. Fast forward 1 year later, $270,000 a month. Crazy. We developed a book, right? Well, I wrote a book 3 weeks later because I had to generate more income. I had to push myself to be better. And so that's another thing that I see that Unblinded does for me. I think that when I'm in my world, I'm on top. I think I'm the number one. And, you are the top 5 people you hang around with. And when you're hanging around with your employees every day or, your spouse or your kids, it's hard to realize that there's something greater out there. And then when you go hang around people that are changing the world, that are making millions of dollars, and they're working from home, or they're not working anymore, they've created a system that works for them, you want to do better. And, what I want to do with my life is I want to feed 100,000 children every day of my life. So we're doing about 8,000 a day today, every single day. And we're freeing a child through sex trafficking every 3 days. But that's not enough. Like, the money is nothing. The money does not drive me. It is what you can do to impact the world. And then we're finding about $250,000 a week that people are overpaying in taxes. I got a text message on Sunday from a client that she got her $40,000 refund in the mail. And she really didn't believe she was going to get it. We amended her tax return. She didn't believe she was going to get the money. She finally got the check in the mail, and she said, my family and I will forever be grateful, especially in this time, to get this $40,000. And guys, what Unblinded has created is a way for you to quickly, because I couldn't explain what I've done. And what I've done is nothing compared to what we're going to do together. But the fact of the matter is condensing time saves not only money, but you can impact more lives faster. And so that's what we're doing at Unblinded. And I'm super excited to be a part of it. I'm not really a part of it, but I feel like I'm a part of it. I'm supposed to be a part of it.
You're a part of it.
So from the very beginning, it was like, I think there's such great potential for what we can do together, and we can be so much more. We can help more, have more, do more, save more, and impact more, so we can change lives. So, I'd love for you to be a part of what we're doing, or what Unblinded is doing on Friday. I'm going to be there because I've obviously learned that if Sean can do better than me on a sales strategy session, I'm going to need to learn some more.
Yeah, we invite you guys. Join us. Like, you have literally nothing to lose. We've made this, like, I believe in sales when you can, like, the way you do it. It's a yes or a yes. It's like, so I can save you 40 grand. It's going to cost $1,200. You want to do this? It's like, no, I don't. It's a yes or a yes, right? And like, it's like we're giggling, but everybody has the ability to create yes or yes outcomes. Yeah. So like, that's what we're doing. Like Sean and I and the other founders of Unblinded, we are driven to prove to the world that you can use what we teach, like the Unblinded methodologies, and build your own business. Like we are absolutely certain of that. And that's what ecosystem merging is. So we have other programs, like we have mastery programs, we have coaching where we teach influence and all of that. And if that's an area where you feel like you can use support, you'll be able to look into that. But this program is free. It is 6 weeks long. And we're going to teach you how to build emotional rapport faster and how to merge ecosystems at the absolute highest level. You're going to love it. Sign up tonight, www.unblindedbusinessaccelerator.com. Takes like 30 seconds to sign up. And we're encouraging everybody to start thinking right now about your 9 ecosystem partners that you want to merge with, because this is going to be an opportunity where we literally train you on how to work together, like train you on what it looks like to begin to collaborate at a very high level to make more money in less time and with more magic. And everybody wants either one or all 3 of those things. And if you don't want any of them, then that's cool. This is not for you. But if you want more money, more time, or more magic, or all 3, this is going to start that process for you. And Courtney, I appreciate you. I love working with you. You're definitely part of Unblinded and about to become even more part of it as we continue to merge our ecosystems and collaborate at a very high level.
Well, I thank you so much. I appreciate you talking to my audience tonight and giving them this information. Guys, just share this with everybody you know. We want as many people to be a part of this 6-week opportunity. I mean, now is a better time. And there's no better time now than to take the time to learn and implement the integrity-based human influence. So I'm so excited. I appreciate you, and you guys have an amazing night. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.